Yes, colleagues, hello. We'll get abstracted now from all those terrible words such as SSH, Kerberos, and others. Let's try to use simple pictures like for those with deviant behavior to explain how to explain why we need to buy so many things costing so much. Let me just sort it out with a clicker and we'll move on. Okay, great. Just a few weeks ago, I had a very curious discussion with my kid. She said, Mom, why don't they attach a parachute to an airplane? If it fails, then everybody goes down. I said, it's a bad engineering decision. He says, why? I said, parachutes is a weighted thing. The airplane is also a weighted thing. You put the parachute and people won't fit in. I said, no, Mom, I don't understand. The parachute should be built of a super light material. Where's the problem? And then I said, look, there's your father there, and he'll explain to you. And in our family, I played the role of the beautiful one. But when they come to me, when controllers come to me and ask me, why do you need 20, the requirement document says you need to have 20 virtual machines. Why are you requesting a physical server? Well, these questions get being asked, and they sound very much like kids' questions because the controller's understanding is really not deep. They just really can't understand why, if the document says you need a VM, you need a physical server. So what have we thought of to answer such questions in a structured and understandable way? We split all the regular IT needs in three portions. The first one is the planned updating of the aging equipment fleet. The second is about the organic growth of systems and data. And the third part is about the need to launch new systems and products, including the update of functionality and things that we are used to call IT for IT. First thing, planned updating of the aging equipment. I still remember the times when you could set a fixed date of replacing the servers, like N years. And then after N years, they were updated. But unfortunately, the times goes on and the controlling people start learning new words and they start asking why N years, why 5 or 6 years, and what will happen to the server after 6 years? It will still keep running, and why would you want to replace it? What would you want to replace it for? Can you please show me a CMDB that shows the age of equipment? And God forbid, you still have like a 10-year-old switch there that is still up and running. So what we came up to explain why 6 years, not 7 years, is very difficult because there's not a single vendor that would testify against themselves and say, look, in 6 years the server will have to be thrown to the dumpster. But we tried to calculate the cost of equipment via the total cost of ownership, TCO. So we've just put some number for orientation here. They're not real. So we take the cost of equipment, we have the cost of switching equipment, we take the cost of repairs and the guidelines for people costs, support costs, and through simple manipulations we come up with a graph like this. By changing the service coefficients of equipment, you see that up until the year 5 or 6 the TCO stays flat, and then it looks like if we want to buy something else, we're not going to buy anything for this equipment. It's end of sale, end of support, and paying for support from an integrator is also becoming quite expensive. And then we just spread the cost of the equipment over the span of 10 years. Understand that the minimum cost of ownership is achieved at the level of 7 years. And actually, for virtually every piece of equipment that's installed in racks, we arrived at this horizon of 6 or 7 years. And now we don't really have these problems. I mean, it's easy. It's become much easier for us to explain why we have set this replacement term. Second, organic growth systems. The organic growth is really about organic growth. It's not about changing or adding the functionality of removing the technical debt. It's just how the system gradually changes during its life cycle, depending on some parameters. As parameters, and we call them business drivers, we can count users, integrations, the number of services, number of systems, whatever. The important thing is that these drivers should meet some simple requirements. Firstly, they have to be understandable. It shouldn't be an IT driver. It should be a driver that's understandable to a non-IT user. This driver should be easily calculable, and there shouldn't be a lot of them. If there's one driver, it's okay. If 3 drivers, it's still okay, but 5 is too much. My favorite example, VDI, direct dependency on the number of users and the number of resources consumed. 10 users, that much resources. 20 users, this much resources. 50, again. We can take a look at the historic data, how much the system occupied with 50 users, with 100 users, and in a year when HR will give us a hiring plan, we'll tell them we'll be consuming that many resources. Let's just plan for that. Unfortunately, this works backwards as well. So if we make us redundant, we have to subtract from resources. Another contribution to the organic growth is CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. This is a formula that financial people understand. It allows calculating how we're going to grow in the future within the horizon of 3 to 5 years. Actually, it's quite a comfortable thing when we need to calculate some parameter that we don't know anything about. Like, for instance, some time ago, we needed to understand how many racks we'll need in 5 years. Look, in the current situation of the planning horizon is 2 weeks. What can we say about what happens in 5 weeks? In 5 years. So in order to resort to expert opinions that our controllers hate, actually, so we take this financial formula, we look how many racks we had 5 years ago, we see how many of them we have today, put it into formula, say, so as a rough idea, within 3 to 5 years, we'll be growing at the rate of 15% a year. No, you're welcome. It's not an expert opinion. It's a real financial calculation that's used in finances, for instance, in the investment value growth calculations. And the last hard to explain piece is about new business initiatives, change initiatives, and IT for IT initiatives. When they bring something to you and tell you, we want to do something absolutely new, we haven't had this before, we don't have it now, we'll build this and we'll earn a lot of money on that. You have to take this request to business, calculate the resources, and if it's your in-house development, the opinion, we want this much, in most cases won't be accepted. So we tried to come up with a methodology in combination with financials that we go through 3 simple steps. Request based on analysis, the consumption of similar systems. Well, maybe not the same, but I'm sure that we have done something like that. And we say, look, it was about like this. At that time, here it's going to be about the same, but with an adjustment for scale. Second thing, what to do. We ask business to offer us business service for these new business drivers, I'm sorry, for these new features, and try to validate on that. So, for instance, they say, they're saying that this will allow us taking on 10 new customers. So let's take a look at the resources. Are we going to have enough resources to handle them? And the last thing, that caused a lot of trust from our financiers, and I recommend using that. It's about an attempt to address to our industry organizations, like in fintech, wherever we are, to the experience of other companies in our industry who've already done something like that. Please tell us how much it cost you in terms of resources, equipment, and I mean, people respond quite happily and willingly. And again, this is something that you can rely on to predict your own costs. The bonus here is that after these explanations, we start understanding what we're really planning to do ourselves, what we will have done ourselves, what we'll need to have purchased, and which condition shall we arrive at the start of the next budget year? Will we request more resources or less resources, or maybe we'll need to shrink the planning horizon twice? Actually, there's also a second part. And unfortunately, I won't be able to fit in the timing for my presentation, but I'm hoping I'll be able to do it in the future. So in the second part, we're explaining how we prove the controlling function that we are indeed managing the capacity. It's not just dissolve somewhere. So we're looking at its operation, we monitor the utilization, and take away the necessary. So, colleagues, if you have any questions, you can ask them of me, so over email, and please provide feedback. Colleagues, I remind you that we're in the fast track, so you can ask your question using the here. Thank you very much.